Welcome to Talk of Africa 360, your source for insightful news, analysis, and thoughtful commentary. If you value informed perspectives and fact-based reporting, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Disclaimer: the content on this channel is based on reliable public sources and credible online information. It is intended strictly for educational and analytical purposes. We do not promote or endorse political violence, hate speech, or any form of discrimination. Our goal is to inform, not to inflame. Thanks for being here. Let's stay informed together.
Welcome to Talk of Africa 360, where African voices take the lead on African stories. We turn our lens to Ivory Coast, a country often described as one of West Africa's most stable economies. But beneath the polished surface of skyscrapers and international investments, something deeper and far more unsettling is stirring. What began as murmurs of discontent in local markets has now erupted into something much larger, a grassroots uprising led not by politicians or activists, but by the very soul of Ivorian society, its women. In the heart of Abidjan, mothers and daughters have taken to the streets, not with weapons, but with raw, unfiltered truth. Their rallying cry, "We are tired, our children are idle. Our husbands are broken, and you call this democracy." These women, unaffiliated with political parties or foreign NGOs, have emerged as a powerful voice against a system they say has failed them. Their protest isn't just about economic hardship or political exclusion. It's about reclaiming dignity in a nation increasingly shaped by external interests. While international headlines remain largely silent, recent leaks and Senate hearings in Washington have shed new light on U.S. involvement in Africa. A top general from U.S. Africa Command AFRICOM stated bluntly that the U.S. mission on the continent revolves around access and influence, not democracy. Not peacebuilding, access and influence. This revelation struck a nerve across African political circles. It confirmed a growing suspicion among many Africans that foreign military partnerships are less about mutual security and more about preserving geopolitical dominance. Ivory Coast, long regarded as the poster child of Francophone economic success, is now showing cracks. Inflation is rising, unemployment, especially among youth, has reached alarming levels. Political opposition remains stifled, with figures like Tidjane Thiam barred from participating in upcoming elections despite court rulings in their favour. But what truly sets the current unrest apart is the timing. Just across the border, an entirely different narrative is unfolding. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, members of the Alliance of Sahel states, have defied the status quo. They've expelled foreign troops, reclaimed control of their resources, and championed a new doctrine of self-determination. Their message is simple: sovereignty at all costs. Now, with AES countries growing stronger, Ivorians are beginning to ask the unthinkable: if they can do it, why not us? Ivory Coast holds strategic importance not only because of its natural wealth and trade routes, but because of its political alignment with Western powers. Quiet reports suggest growing coordination between the Ivorian presidency and foreign military advisors. U.S. intelligence sharing agreements and elite military training have all flown under the radar, often justified under the banner of counterinsurgency, despite no major insurgency threat. So what is really going on behind the scenes? Whispers in Abidjan suggest that military cooperation, joint exercises, and surveillance initiatives are on the rise. Critics warn that this growing partnership comes at the cost of national sovereignty and often suppresses the very democratic freedoms these alliances claim to protect. When citizens demand change, foreign partners remain silent. No condemnation, no calls for restraint. And when protesters fill the streets, many wonder, will their government respond or will foreign interests pull the strings? The country sits at a crossroads. On the surface, Ivory Coast boasts stability. But beneath that surface lies a generation of youth angry, aware, and increasingly unwilling to be silenced. They see luxury in government convoys while struggling to afford food. They watch foreign companies extract cocoa and oil while their communities remain impoverished. And they are watching what's happening next door. From Ouagadougou to Niamey, young Africans are reclaiming their narratives, and the ripple effect is reaching Abidjan. Ivory Coast has not yet seen a rupture, no military takeovers, no dramatic coups. But all the warning signs are there: economic despair, political exclusion, foreign entanglements, and a restless population inspired by a rising regional movement. Whether the Ivorian government chooses reform or repression could determine whether the nation's future is one of renewal or of rupture. One thing is certain: Africa is waking up, and Ivory Coast may soon have to choose between the comfort of external control or the uncertain path toward true sovereignty. We'll continue to follow this developing story. Stay with us on Talk of Africa 360, where Africa speaks for itself. We are tired, our children are idle, our husbands are broken. And you call this democracy? She was not alone. Hundreds joined her, ordinary women with no political backing. Their message was clear. This is not democracy, this is decay. For weeks now, Ivorian women have taken to the streets peacefully, boldly. Their power lies not in protest slogans, but in their truth. They are the backbone of a nation, and they are fed up with being ignored. Ivory Coast has long been marketed as a model of stability in West Africa. Rising skyscrapers, foreign investment, economic growth. But dig deeper and you find a different story. Inflation is crushing families. Youth unemployment is staggering, and opposition voices silenced or sidelined, the final straw. When opposition leader Tidjane Thiam was blocked again from contesting elections, despite his citizenship being confirmed by the courts. While Ivorian citizens fight for justice, another player operates quietly behind the scenes. AFRICOM, the United States Africa Command. Its stated goal: regional security, counterterrorism, peacebuilding. But a recent Senate hearing in Washington revealed something else. When asked why the US military invests billions in Africa, a top general answered with just two words: access and influence. Not democracy, not peace, just control. Across the continent, AFRICOM's footprint has expanded: covert drone bases, surveillance hubs, security agreements signed in silence. In Niger, it monitors the Sahel. In Senegal and Ghana, it builds strategic outposts. And now, in Ivory Coast, it operates quietly with whispers of military advisors close to the presidency, classified deals, and foreign-trained elite forces. But if there's no insurgency in Ivory Coast, what exactly are they preparing for? While Ivory Coast stands on the brink, its neighbors are rewriting the rules. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, these are not failed states. They are rising states, members of the Alliance of Sahel States. They have expelled foreign troops, nationalized resources, reclaimed sovereignty, and they are inspiring others. Captain Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso has become a symbol for young Africans. A leader unafraid to challenge global powers. A leader focused on feeding his people, defending his land, and exposing the mechanisms of neo-colonial control. The AES bloc isn't just surviving, it's succeeding. And for the West, that's the real threat. Ivory Coast, with its deepwater ports, cocoa reserves, and offshore oil, is a jewel in West Africa's crown. And its silence until now has served foreign interests well. But silence is breaking. The youth are watching Traoré's speeches. They're reading about Niger's uranium. They're learning how Mali took back its airspace. And they're asking, if they can do it, why not us? Ivory Coast has not had a coup, not yet. But all the conditions are simmering. A frustrated population, rising economic inequality, foreign-backed suppression, and now a regional movement that offers a different path. What happens if Ivory Coast rises? Would peaceful protests be met with tear gas or foreign drones? Would calls for justice be answered by riot police or silent advisors behind tinted windows? AFRICOM says it supports peace, but whose peace? The people's or the regime's? In Africa, foreign military presence has too often meant one thing: protect the assets, control the ports, silence the resistance, and when that fails, install a more compliant leader. Ivory Coast today is holding its breath. Not in fear, but in anticipation. A shift is coming. Whether through peaceful reform or painful rupture, only time will tell. But one thing is certain: Africa is no longer asleep. From Ouagadougou to Abidjan, a new consciousness is rising. And no amount of foreign influence or military presence can stop an idea whose time has come. Stay with Talk of Africa 360. Where Africa.
As reactions continue to pour in from across the continent, one thing is clear. Africa is demanding respect, sovereignty, and accountability. Was this just a diplomatic misstep or a deeper sign of shifting global alliances? We'll be watching closely. If you found this story important, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real, unfiltered African news. This is Talk of Africa 360, telling the stories that matter.